Hey friends, welcome to Your Story Matters podcast. My name is Michaela, and I am so happy you're here. My hope for this show is that we experience the power of storytelling and understand that we are the main characters in our story so that we can live as our truly authentic selves. You're in the right place to hear real stories that will challenge, inspire, and encourage you on your personal growth journey. I hope you enjoy. Today on the show is Michelle Akester-Marsh. Married for 15 years and mom to two incredible boys, Michelle and her family moved from the south coast of England to the northeast of Scotland in September 2023 because they fancied a new adventure, leaving behind everything and everyone they'd ever known. Michelle is a mental load expert for working moms and founder of Unshakable Mama. She helps highly capable working moms reduce the mental load by releasing expectations and responsibilities that were never theirs to carry, so they can create time and space to become more of who they are meant to be and build a life they truly love. Here's our conversation. And welcome back to Your Story Matters podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it with me. I am equally happy to be spending time with my new friend, Michelle, from across the pond and north. Welcome so much to Your Story Matters podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you.
If I slip into a British accent, it is just because I'm flattered and in awe, which I will rein myself back in. But it's beautiful. I mean, American accents compared to British accents are just the worst.
We find it so funny. We find it so funny how the Americans love the British accent so much.
It's just, it's more pleasant on the ears, knowing how certain words are, even with vowels and whatnot. It just sounds like, comparatively, it just sounds like we're harsher when we say words. And there's such it's like the British dialect is a gentle flowing river. And sometimes the American accent can be kind of just a lot of hot air, which I think that perfectly describes all of our history. So there we go. Show's over. We've done it. No, we've come to talk about so much more today. So Michelle, the biggest question that I will ask you ever on this show is, what is your story? Take it away.
Wow, gosh. And there's so much history there too, like 46 years in, where do I start? But I think the point that really made me change my life was back in like 2016, we had our second child, who's now 10, obviously, it's 2026. And we were doing house renovations. We then decided to do another extension when he was 1, and we had an awful lot of trouble with planning applications and neighbours and things like that. Oh yeah, just to say as well that my son was born on a building site. We had a home birth. We actually had a door delivery. This is a funny bit. We actually had a door delivery, 11 new internal doors, in between contractions, which is very interesting.
Wow.
The door delivery guy was a bit like, "You're in labor? I just spoke to you on the phone like 20 minutes ago." Anyway, so that was funny. So so what happened over time is, with the pressure of that, I'd had quite a horrendous pregnancy as well, with lots of sickness, hyperemesis, gravidarum. And then with all the building works, I just basically broke down. There was just too much going on. The building works actually finished at the end of 2017 in the end, but then we still had to deal with the decoration and everything. And life was just too much. Like my other son, he's now 14, and I just felt like I was constantly stretched. I felt like I was constantly failing at everything. I wasn't a good enough mum, a wife. I wasn't good enough at my employed job. Plus I had a business as well. Plus we were trying to, keep up appearances with our neighbours and everything, and know who was actually our friend and who wasn't. It turns out most of them were. It was just a couple. And so I had a breakdown, just like everything just got on top of me. And I started rebuilding day by day. I just decided I remember saying to a friend, I just need my nervous system to feel calmer. I just want to feel calmer. And I just started little and often throughout my days, like, okay, well, I can't go for massages regularly like I used to because of the boys. So what can I do for myself instead? I can't go to yoga classes right now. So what is the next best thing? So I would just spend, 5-10 minutes in the mornings practicing some yoga before taking my son to school, or I'd make sure I sit down and have my hot cup of tea. It was very English. Funnily enough, I never drank tea or coffee until I had my children. It's a myth. Yeah, it's a myth that we all drink tea and coffee. So, so I just built myself up slowly but surely. Like, I made sure I had a peppermint tea every morning. If the boys were bickering at breakfast, I would just turn around and take a few deep breaths. Or some days, like if I went in and I was a bit snappy with them, I would literally walk out again, calm myself, and walk back in and like, morning boys, let's reset, shall we? And this has been the start of what's now my business, Unshakable Mama. So my background is holistic therapies, mindfulness, meditation, and now the life coaching side, which I love. And so as I was rebuilding, there were a lot of other challenges that happened. My husband's got really sick back in like January 2019. He got sepsis, was hospitalized, and it wasn't a good time. There've been financial problems due to renovations, and my nan got very poorly, and she's since died 5 years ago, and we were very, very close. And there's just been a lot of things happening. But every time we had a challenge, I've learned this kind of state of just isness, I call it. Okay, this isn't life happening to me. It's just life. It's not, it's not like the universe has a personal vendetta against me, and it's that this is life. There'll be challenges, and they're the big challenges. Obviously, on a day-to-day basis, there's a whole multitude of challenges. I'm a mum too, and we just there's always something, like the child's sick and needs a day off school, but you've got meetings booked back to back, or the cat needs a rushed visit to the vets, or you get a punctured tire and you have to sort that out, or you can't go to where you needed to go, or I've said before, like the boys bickering. I mean, that actually, out of everything now, still takes the most emotional toll on me, like trying to keep regulated when they're so dysregulated, so I can help them re-regulate. But actually, it leaves them quite a sour taste when I've had to really support them through their own relationship, or through things emotionally that have happened, in their lives, like social things, or, their own challenges. So that is the kind of the story, where it's all come from. So I'm now growing and evolving from there. That was kind of like the benchmark. And a lot of really amazing stuff has happened since. I don't know if you want me to go into that now.
It's wonderful how, and I like how you said it, it's not life happening to me, it's just life. I think we should put that on all of the t-shirts and bumper stickers and coffee mugs. Because lifes. That's how I kind of put it, which is totally incorrect grammar, but it's true. There's so much that we experience on a day-to-day basis, from the time that we're born to the time that we leave this earth. And this show, and kind of what I'm all about as an individual, and kind of going into this Enneagram life coaching, is how do we respond? How do we take into account and try to manage as best we can our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors, and walk through the thing, and kind of then how do we rebuild after? So it's a wonderful, you're coming in at a wonderful time of just this kind of very much like what the show is kind of based on, what I've worked for 4 years kind of building. It's like, what do we do when life gets so big that we kind of have to start, making adjustments and stuff. So we're going to get into all the nitty gritty of it. So we're going to go back to the beginning just a little bit. Your background is in holistic work, therapy, mindfulness. Did you start with that like as a younger woman? What was the interest in that kind of leading you down that path?
Well, funnily enough, I was telling someone this the other day, actually. When I was 13, I decided I wanted to be a beauty therapist, and I ended up going down a travel route. So I worked in the travel industry for a long, long time, and till I got really fed up with sending people on these really high-end, like luxurious, pricey holidays, like bespoke, tailor-made holidays, knowing that I could never afford it on my salary that I was being paid. So I started looking at other areas, and I went full circle, and I retrained as a massage therapist, which I loved. And I mean, I still practice now and then, but I kind of gave up the business about 3 years ago now, just because it didn't fit with my lifestyle anymore. Like, it worked really well before I had kids and when the boys were smaller, but I built the business so my husband could look after them in the evenings and weekends. We didn't have to pay for childcare. But then the thing is, as they got older, I was missing too much. I was missing bedtimes, I was missing clubs, I was missing things. So plus the sheer amount of washing that was involved when you've got 2 boys. Oh no, I just honestly, I felt like a laundrette. I was just constantly, like, washing machine was going about 4 times a day. And I mean, I've been qualified for 21 years now in massage, and I still love it. The other reason I gave up though was that what I found is that my clients were my massage clients. This is I got a little bit disheartened with massage in the sense that they were waiting for me to fix them every 2 weeks, every month, or whatever. And I had learned so much about self-development and about taking responsibility for your own life and being the leader of your life, and that there's so much room for growth and evolution, and that I was just getting a little bit frustrated that they weren't taking responsibility. Love them to bits. At the same time, there was just this like niggle that, so that was another
Yeah.
reason.
I haven't even heard it from that perspective before. When I go, and I don't go as often as I would like to, I just kind of zone out and go to another dimension.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's not a quick fix, probably a chiropractor would help with certain certain issues, and that's massage is not replacement for that. But it's like, yeah, it's just it's almost like a wonderful trip that I get to go on
Yeah.
and feel like, wow, I definitely know where I hold tension, and I definitely know like the certain movements in this practice help, alleviate that. But knowing that I'm not magically fixed, but it's just a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful
Yeah.
thing that I love, love, love.
It is a beautiful thing. I love a massage. Don't get me wrong. I love a massage, but I was more kind of remedial massage rather than like relaxation massage. I actually get a bit frustrated when people ask me to do it lighter because I'm like, but I want to get into your knots. I want to actually like help you here. And I think that with my line of work now, people are in such a good state emotionally. They're so much more regulated that when they go for a massage, they sink that level deeper anyway.
Uh-huh.
Whereas, like, if you walk into a massage when you're feeling a bit like, and how long does a massage actually last? How long does the benefit of a massage last? By the time you've got home, back to the family and back to the chaos, suddenly, like, it's almost like it didn't happen. But when you've kind of been doing the inner work as well, and you're already, going in a calm state of mind, the benefits last longer and you get deeper benefits when you're actually there. So yeah.
Yeah, when people are like, I have such a hard time or I don't zone out, I'm like, I'm out immediately. Like, I can't tell you where I go, but I go somewhere out of my body, and then I come back, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, it was funny
So,
actually. I was massaging last weekend, and there was a lady who she said to me, I'm terrible at relaxing. I cannot relax. And she was the one who went deeper out of anybody. And this has always been the thing I say, you can relax. You're just telling yourself you can't relax. So when she started talking to me, and I'm actually I'm very boundaried. I'm like, this is your time. Like, you can talk to me if you want, but if you really want to learn to relax, if you really want the benefits of this, don't talk to me. Just focus on where I'm, on the feeling, just focus, and yeah, it was incredible. Like this woman who can't relax.
yep, yep, there's something to it. So, in the kind of the transition of holistic modalities, and then, travel, and then kind of starting this business, which we'll talk about here soon, what were the thoughts and feelings? Because part of the message of this podcast too is just like, we have to change a lot in life, and sometimes we don't give ourselves permission that it is okay to, whether the circumstances involve physical health, mental health. You just need a change of career, or you need to move somewhere, which you've done. We'll talk about that. But kind of, was there an apprehension? Were you ready for this? Did it kind of come as a, no, I'm not ready for this at all? Kind of just within all of those transitions, kind of what was your posture in that?
I have always been somebody who believes that life's for living. I want to squeeze every last drop of goodness from life. I want as many experiences as possible. I've always been somebody who is what did it say, like a jack of all trades and a master of none. But actually, that's not strictly true, because I am very, very good at massage. I'm very good at my therapies. I'm very good at coaching. However, there was often, I won't say always, but there was often phases of this underlying frustration. And that is probably the strongest emotion that has featured through my existence, if you like. It's frustration. I know there's more. I want to get here. Why can't I get here? How can I get here? And yeah, or I mean, it's school holidays, for example. Now I live in Scotland, and I am English, but I live in Scotland. And yeah, I mean, before I even had the boys, I always had this dream that I wanted full flexibility around my family. This is before I even met my husband. And because my mum, she worked full time. We didn't have the choice. She didn't have the choice and the flexibility that we have now. It was just like, well, you have to go to work and you have to work in an office, and that kind of mindset. And so much has changed since I was little. Um, yeah, school holidays would come and then I'd feel really frustrated again because I wanted to be working on my business because I'd been building momentum, and then suddenly I'd had to slam on the brakes again. And so I was then going through this cycle of frustration and resentment, and then so feeling guilty if I was working and not with the boys, feeling guilty if I was with the boys and not working on my business because I really needed my business to work. This is going back a few years, and so, I mean, there would be the three biggest emotions: frustration, resentment, guilt. And I basically had to make a choice and remind myself, okay, well, why am I in business? What are my actual core values here? That I want to be a present mum. I want to spend time with my boys. I want to be have a happy marriage and give my husband attention, me attention. It's not just
Yeah, right.
it's my duty, it's like we have a really good marriage, and they're important to me. I want to have a nice home, but I don't want to feel like a slave to my home. I don't. So one of the things I did actually in the sort of early-ish stages of my coaching business was because I started coaching in COVID times because my massage business got shut down, and that was really hard, actually, really hard. I mean, it was this financial hit overnight, and massage was like a very good income for us, and to nothing. And they told me I wasn't entitled to any help, any funding, because I was also employed. It was a long story, but anyway, I had a fight on my hands. But here we go. I forgot what I was saying. I was going, so back in, yes, one of the early things I did was to hire a cleaner. Because at that point, I was working. By this point, I had given up my employed job because after COVID, massage went crazy. Everyone was desperate to see me again, even clients I hadn't seen for years and years. I gave up my part-time employed job in an office. Yeah, I was working 5 days a week while the boys were at school on my coaching business. I was working 2 or 3 evenings plus Saturdays massaging, and I was spending Sundays cleaning the house, doing all the chores, and promising the boys, my husband, oh yeah, I'll play a game in a bit. I'll play with you later. We'll go out to the park later. We'll do this. And there was so much always on my to-do list on a Sunday that it just never happened. And that came with further layers of guilt. But also it was like, well, what is the point? Life, life is too serious. Life is not fun anymore. I'm just going through the motions. I remember driving to a client one evening, a massage client, and I hit the brakes at a roundabout, and I was like, I just want to be slowing down time. I just wish I was slowing down time, not my car. And I was waking up in the mornings, on a school morning, God, how am I going to get through the day? How am I going to get from A to B? And can somebody just please put me back and teleport me, sorry, back to bed at the end of the day and just put the day done. And I was like, what kind of life is that? Going through the motions, feeling like a bystander in my own life, going through an autopilot, not actually enjoying anything. Even the fun stuff felt like a chore because, I'd go out with my girlfriends for a meal or something, or after work of an evening, and it would be a rush to get the boys to bed, and then I'd be rush dinner in bed, and then rush to get out, and I was exhausted. And then I was like, how am I going to afford it? I can't even afford to be going out right now. I'd be at somebody's house, and I was thinking about, okay, well, on the way home, I need to go shopping. I need to do the food shop because I don't know where I'm going to fit that in otherwise, or things like that. And so I hired this cleaner, couldn't afford her, but she was worth her weight in gold because the stress dropped off my shoulder. I regained a whole day for family time. We gained all day, and it was just the best investment ever. And I actually think that making that scary decision, even though my husband didn't want a cleaner, he's like, we can't afford it. Why are we getting a cleaner? Can't afford it. And I think he thought I was a bit lazy as well. I'm like, what? You should be cleaning that. That he never said that. Just to caveat that, he never said that. That was on me. That was my conditioning. It's my job to do the cleaning. It should be me doing the cleaning, keeping the house. So, from that point, I was able to make different decisions in my personal life, in my business. So I've been building, trying to calm my nervous system, learning all these tools, making sure I had stole basically pockets of time for myself to make sure that I was prioritizing myself and not always running around like a headless chicken, I was able to relax. And when you're relaxed, you can release things, like release ideas. And when you're relaxed, you can receive new ideas and new perspectives. And then things started to escalate. And now that is very much part of my business now. What can you release to receive? What conditioning and beliefs are you carrying that were never yours to carry?
That's good. I'm writing down frantically. What can you release so you can receive? Michelle, me in the gut, why don't you? No, that's so good. And thank you for sharing so much of the struggle, because I think sometimes when we're looking into people or lives or just trying to hear something, I think to our default, we're always just kind of looking for what's someone's grandiose struggle, and we're almost looking to it, wanting encouragement, but also we can't, because we can't relate to something. But just knowing that hiring a cleaner to come in so that you get a full day with your family, like that is relatable. That is a struggle of a lot of moms. I am not one, but I just know for many of my friends, and even looking at family, it's like, yeah, we want that time with our loved ones because we're not going to get that back. And so just being stressed, having time taken away, and knowing I'm not getting it back, what can I do to get it back? Something as simple yet profound as a cleaner is a total game changer. So thank you for sharing that, of just that's what it can look like, a simple decision of it's only for a little bit of time, right? Or maybe the long stretch, who knows? But sometimes it takes very brave decisions like that to force a wake up call of like, this is just not how I want my life to be going. So yeah, it's a really beautiful picture of a very relatable life for a lot of people.
And it has all been really small things. Like, I have leaned deeper and deeper into a simple life. My ideal day is listening to the birds and walking around our field, which is something we've created through our move. Or just doing practicing a bit of yoga, having a cup of tea, reading my book. I'm actually a very simple being, but I was actually too scared to admit that a few months ago, because we're made out, that life is Instagrammable. My life wasn't Instagrammable. I didn't actually want it to be Instagrammable. I mean, the thing is, I have had some amazing experiences. I do lots of amazing things. But as I said to one of my clients the other day, most of life is really boring. So my question to you is, how can you find more joy in the ordinary day-to-day moments? Because that's what my clients are missing. That's what I was missing a few years ago. Life just wasn't joy, but then it compounds. So it's like the small decisions, it's like the small moments of joy. And suddenly you look back, I'm looking back like, 6, 7, 8 years ago now. I do not recognize that person. Don't recognize her anymore. And if you told me back then that I'd achieved what my husband and I've achieved now, people are like, no way, on your bike, like that's ridiculous. How? There's no way you're going to do that. And that how, when you were moved, I stopped asking myself how I was going to achieve stuff, and I started asking myself, what's the next best step? What can I do next? Like, how can I make myself feel good in this moment? What's going to make me feel good tomorrow? So I use a shopping example again because it's come to mind, and it is a real thing that I remember my husband saying. Really didn't want to go shopping one day on my way back home from somewhere. But the thing is, I did, even though I was really tired. And I remember my husband saying to me, well, your future self will be happy because you don't have to go tomorrow. And that has been kind of my mindset. Like, well, what is my future self going to appreciate? And so I'm always like making decisions based on who I'm becoming, because I actually believe we become more of who we already are rather than becoming somebody new, more of who we're meant to be. But who do I need to be today in order to become more of me tomorrow? If that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Was the move from England to Scotland part of the mentality of needing a simple life and really kind of living that? Or did that come of just like, we're going to do it?
A bit of both, to be honest. So I'll set the scene here. So my husband has been really poorly, January 2019. He already had a holiday booked to Scotland in April 2019. And we drove up to Scotland. So it's about a 12-hour drive from where we used to live. And we'd had a dream to live more rural. So we didn't live in town, but we lived in what we would call suburbia. I don't know what you call it in the States. So sort of on the outskirts. You know, it was a really lovely place. Everything was really convenient. Everyone was lovely. I knew the area really well because I'd been brought up in the area. I'd been away and I had come back and been away a few times. And I used to say to my mum, I was like, I'm on a piece of elastic.
Yeah.
Like, she can't get rid of me. No, she didn't want to get rid of me. But yeah, I couldn't break free basically because I loved it so much. And I always said, I don't see myself living anywhere else. Like if I live anywhere else in the UK, it would have to be abroad.
Mm.
So anyways, but we had a dream to live more rural. And again, it wasn't really, the numbers weren't panning out. It's actually very expensive where we were from. And the house prices were just way out of our reach for what we wanted. Yeah. So anyway, we were up in Scotland. My husband and I were sat in a hot tub we were staying in a log cabin. There were mountains around us, and we were just sat, and the stars were bright and twinkly, and it was just really dark skies. And by daylight, it was just green and I literally had walked around the corner from the cabin, and the scenery took my breath away. It's like a loch and the mountains and the pine trees. I was like, oh, anyway, we were sat in the hot tub that night and said, this could be it. Scotland could be our place where we make this rural life and nature happen. So we sort of held on to that. We're like, well, we don't know how, la da da. And yeah, that was the first conversation. We started looking for houses, and I actually did something really brave and started talking about it to other people. Because I've always been one to keep my secrets to my dreams to myself, because I've been, I won't say accused, but like of I suppose I was brought up to think that it was wrong to dream, and that because I used to twiddle my hair and I was just like a dolly daydreamer, and like, I'll come back down to earth, Michelle, be real, be realistic. So I started telling people, well, we're planning on moving to Scotland, but I don't know when, don't know how, don't know, it could be 5 years, could be 10 years, could be never. But at that point, I started believing in, like, we've got a tradition in UK, maybe you do as well. Like, when you blow out your candles on a birthday cake, you make a wish, but you mustn't tell anyone your wish. And I'm like, sod that. I'm telling everyone my wish from now on, because the thing is, when you tell people your wishes and your hopes and your dreams, it holds you accountable. So, and there was a little part of me was like, well, if it doesn't happen now, I'm going to look like a real fool. And there was a little part of me was thinking, I want to prove everyone wrong. If somebody prove that I can actually dream big and I will make it happen. And yeah, so we just kept on looking, and there were lots of, well, so it is a long story. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but we did pull the plug on it at one point, because my boys freaked out. Our boys freaked out about it. But then one day, it was maybe May 3 years ago, I was just sat in meditation. So relaxing to receive the ideas and the downloads, like releasing what I didn't need, creating space to receive. And my next best action step that kept coming to me was put the house on the market. And that was not what was happening. We weren't putting the house on the market. We were going to pay off the mortgage somehow. We were going to rent it out and buy another house. I was adamant that that's the way it was going to work, but no, it didn't work like that. So we put the house on the market. Within 3 days, it sold to a cash buyer. 3 days. That was crazy. Cash buyer as well. So it's literally like nobody else in the chain. Then, like a couple of weeks later, we found our house. We came up to Scotland, found our house. And within 2 months, we had uprooted and moved. Like literally 2 months.
Wow.
Almost. Yeah, it's probably about the day it sold, actually 3 years ago. So we received our dream. Like, we had to think outside the box. We had to be open-minded. We had to, we manifested it. But see, I have a little bit of a bugbear with manifestation, because I think it's got a bad rap.
Yeah.
Because people think, oh, I can manifest, I need to sit and meditate all day. Well, that's BS. Meditation is taking action. Meditation is a tool to help you understand and to know what the next best action step is. One of many, many tools, journaling or dancing or I don't know, whatever. So we manifested our rural country house with 6.5 acres of land, and which is more land than we expected. We're planting woodland, because we originally wanted woodland as well, and we that was the compromise. Everything else was great. Oh, apart from the fact it was much further north than we had originally planned. It was meant to be. Yeah, so we're planting trees, and just I bimble around in the garden, like mooch around. We've got owls living in the garden. I saw a woodpecker the other day. We've got hedgehogs. So just like everything. It's just amazing deer wander around the fields. Just
Aw.
pheasants and all these amazing things that have just become so normal.
Right. Absolutely. And I don't think there's anything quite like nature and
No.
the inhabitants of nature to put into perspective. They don't have worries like we do. They're not
No.
stressing about the things that we stress about. They have their own concerns, and it's a little bit different from what ours are, because we don't have to live with what am I going to eat, where am I going to sleep, but they also just take time to enjoy where they are. And I think that's such a lesson that we could also apply more often than I think we do, depending on, again, where you live. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just sounds so idyllic.
It is beautiful. It is really beautiful, isn't it? And people say, "Oh, you're so lucky," but people really don't know what challenges we've been through. Like, people don't know the specifics of the challenges. People don't know I talk about it more, but the really tough decisions we've had to take in order to make it happen. We've stayed so focused on this goal. I don't even like the word goal, on the vision. I had a very specific vision of me stood at my back door with a cup of my morning coffee, looking out over hills and trees and green scenery, basically. And it was like a snapshot. And
Mm.
I reconnected with that vision every single day for years, because that's the vision I want. And now I've got it out of every window. I can stand at any window and out on my door, and look out with my coffee. And it's just amazing. But it's not luck. It's been very, very intentional. Every day has been intentional, because that version of us living in that rural lifestyle was our future selves. And we've made decisions based on that. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Very important to say too, because everyone can look at, you go from living in England to Scotland and people can romanticize it, idolize it, and be jealous of it. But you're exactly right. We don't know. Like it might have been a 2-month thing, but yeah, you're right. There's so much, like, between yourself, your husband, the boys, the family as a whole, like, just leaving, again, as you said, like, there's an elasticity with you and where you grew up of, now we're really going places. And the boys will, have a different school, and there's a little bit of a culture shock too of adjusting to another English speaking country, but it's still very different in terms of that and society and customs and stuff. So it is very brave. It is a brave thing to move countries and just to take that leap of what our future selves are going to thank us for, of like, hey, you did it. And I don't know if we think so much about future self. We might think of, oh, let's not have that cake because that'll upset our tummies for tomorrow. But I don't think we go farther, as far as what would 2 years down the road look like, or 5 or 10, if we can kind of map it out that grand. But it's so important. Every small decision made is a puzzle piece adding to the bigger picture, which is just beautiful.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, just going back to what you said about, we think about, oh, we shouldn't have that cake. And I think we're far too hung up on appearances and what we look like. And we make decisions from the wrong values often. And I'm very much like, well, we need to feel life. Like, what do you want to feel? And I did an exercise a few years ago where it was like a New Year exercise, and it's like, well, what do you want to feel this year? And I wrote down like joy and love and laughter and just more fun with my boys. And it was like, okay, well, what's one step you can do right now to make that happen? So I just wrote down, schedule yes days into my diary to spend, for family days. So the boys can lead. We don't go into all of this like super fancy stuff, and actually that reminds me, we haven't actually done one for a while, but yeah, it's, how do you want to feel? I just think that's so much more important, and we tend to very much overlook it because we're so busy going through the motions of life. We go on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next, that we forget to actually tap in with what we're feeling. How are we really feeling? We don't give ourselves the space to.
Exactly. And so transitioning into that space of, we left the massage world for a little bit, and then we took on this business of taking care of moms and mothers to kids, and kind of having the challenges and the beautifulness of motherhood a little bit more manageable. So talk about how that has helped shape your life and obviously the lives of those that you work with.
Well, what I've come to understand or believe, I should say, for me, it's truth, is that we carry a lot of conditioning, a lot of beliefs and conditioning, societal and generational, that beliefs and habits that aren't actually ours. Like, we're conditioned from the day we're born that we should be and behave and say and look and, a certain way. Like, there's a route that we have to take through life, married and kids. And I know things have been shaken up a bit, but traditionally, and I have to say, I am very traditional still in that respect. Not that I've got anything against, but that's just my personal choice. Like, and we're just taught that we need to be a certain way. And by me starting, hiring a cleaner, for example, by me deciding I was going to choose me and not always put my boys first, by me making sure I've had my hot cup of tea before jumping to attention to do whatever anyone else wanted, or by making sure I'm refueled. I had an article in a paper recently and the headline was Vitamin Me. So I'm actually going to use that. Like, I took my me vitamin, my vitamin me. I felt like I was rebelling against society. And my belief is very much that feminism backfired. Like, the feminist movement, incredible. Those women, incredible. Yet society didn't shift with us. So women were told, yeah, okay, you can go out to work now if you want to. So everyone was like, yeah, let's go out to work. Now we need to work in most cases. There's not an option, yet we're still conditioned to think that it's solely us that has to look after the kids, has to look after the house, has to, all of that, and all of the emotional load that comes with it. And the mental load is just huge. So I'm all about reducing the mental load to create more time and space for yourself, using my own lived experience, because I've been dubbed the boundary queen. It's all about, like, okay, well, what it is that you want? What are your values? What boundaries are you going to set to protect your time and energy? Because actually you really matter. And how can we regulate your nervous system? What simple tools can we use? How can we shift your mindset, get you more emotionally stable, even when the unexpected happens, especially when the unexpected happens? Because that's when you need it more. When you're in the trenches, that's when we need the tools. But unless we're practicing the tools, they don't come naturally. But that's where the just isness comes in. Because when you're, it's a choice, it's a commitment, it's a daily practice. And then we manifest. Then we take the next best action step, but we can only do that to, like, next best action step towards who it is that you want to become more of. Like, what is the life that you actually know you're here for? But we can only do that when we know what we want, because lots of mums don't, women. So, and we have the boundaries in place and we're regulated. And it really upsets me when people go on about, my husband, he never helps, never this. And my pushback on this is, do you ever ask for help? Do you ever say what you need? Are there things that you do that he doesn't even know you do? Are there things your children you can delegate to your kids? And don't delegate tasks, delegate decisions. So I will always say to my kids, well, I won't say to them, put your shoes away. I'll say, do you think that that's the best place to leave your shoes? And if not, like, why not? Or if yes, why? And it's always like, so we're getting people to think. And through that process over the years, we've created a really beautiful teamwork and harmony in the home. Because I would say, like, you can't be resentful that people aren't helping you and you don't feel supported if you're not actually receiving support. The number of times my husband would say to me, do you want me to help you with anything? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Like, really, like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm really not fine. I'm drowning. Why didn't I just say, yeah, actually, can you help me with something? But I was like, well, he goes to work, he earns the money mindset. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other conversation. I felt like, because I wasn't, I had to earn my place in the home, because I wasn't actually bringing the money in physically, as much money in as him, bringing money in, I was still earning money. But I was like, well, actually, no, we're a team. I've given up. I can't work as much because, I'm looking after our children. That's worth being compensated for. That's worth being financially rewarded for. And my reward is via his income that he's earning, because I'm allowing him to go out to work.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way. As I said, it's a whole conversation. Did that answer your question? I feel like I've gone off on a bit of a tangent.
No, I am here for tangents. The podcast middle name is Tangent, and so we love a tangent.
Right.
No, I think that's great. And there's, again, the word that just keeps popping up is so relatable. This whole conversation is nothing but relatable, of the simple things, of what it is that causes stress, in the day-to-day life, when we're not actively thinking of our future self in such a way that we're kind of positioning our present selves to kind of make those decisions. And you can't really do that unless you know, right? And so if you don't have those conversations, do that deep dive of, okay, what would my future self want? You know, do I want to wake up to city views? Do I want to wake up to rural views? Do I want cows to be my neighbors? Do I want whatever? And not even so much location, but even just even job or career, you know, what does all of that look like? So just asking those questions and being really honest and knowing that it takes a lot of introspection, which is good. And I really appreciate how you redefined manifestation, because you're so right. Especially in the States, we say it all of the time. And I don't think we know what we're talking about, because it does sound very Eastern side of the world, very woohoo, but it's not as scary as actually what it is. We do it more than we think we do. But again, it's all about the intention and the heart posture of what do we want to bring about. And we all want to bring about good things. It's just, again, that mindset of, okay, how can we dial in, turn a couple knobs, take a walk if we need to, drink a cup of coffee, and regulate ourselves in order to be calm. And I keep going back to, how can you release so you can receive? That's like the takeaway.
It's powerful. And I mean, I spent a year working with a manifestation coach, and she is just incredible. And she taught me all of that: relax, to release, to receive. And it's not just that. I mean, in a whole year, I deconditioned myself so much. But I'd also been working with her. It was her meditation when she said, "What's your next best action step?" And my inner guidance said, "Put the house on the market," because she'd been deconditioning me. I've been deconditioning through working with her previously as well. And it's just so powerful. We just hold on to so much baggage that is not ours at all. And I was in another meditation one day where I had this really strong vision of, this might sound a bit weird to some people, I don't know, but of like a line of ancestors, female ancestors, I think down my maternal line, literally like cheering me on, like, go, Michelle, you've got to keep going. You've got to speak your truth. You've got to share all this. Do it for us, because they want me to break the cycles. My work is very much around breaking cycles. I don't want our kids and our future generations to feel as stressed and overwhelmed and overloaded as my generation of mums has felt, because we're trying to do it all. We were promised it all. We're trying to do it all, and we're not feeling like we're doing anything well enough because we don't know who we are anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack of, a lot of generational stuff that has been passed down. And you're correct with the conditioning of so many different things. I have different views on a different topic that I'm also trying to deconstruct and figure out, okay, how do we rebuild if we're taking anything of what was originally there, or do we just completely build something, you know, brand new with our beliefs and our values and kind of what we hold dear. But yeah, it's such a good picture. I could talk all day, and maybe one day we will. And I will come and visit you in Scotland, and we will walk around your 6 acres and listen to all of the birds and the wildlife, which is just, it sounds like a dream, because it's one of those things where you did it.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't just stay in England. We didn't just stay where we were comfortable, but also struggling. Like, we made a shift, and that moving countries or moving across anything is not always the answer, but it is for some.
It was a lot to hold. My nervous system took a lot of battering, because everything was new. We were trying to learn new stuff. And the truth is, like, I wouldn't recommend such a big move very often, like maybe once every 5 or 10 years, you know. I'm talking, when I say move, I don't necessarily mean a physical house move. I mean just like such a big shift and change. It's all about the small things, but the small things make the bigger things happen, and they mean that you can hold them better. But what I learned is that at some point the dream becomes the new normal. And then you start going through the same cycles again. It's like, well, actually, life feels a little bit boring again today, you know, like the buzz is gone, or like I was so tired at one point, or literally like about 9 months in, like my bubble burst. And I was like, I remember crying on my husband's shoulder. Right. I was like, I'm so tired of everything being new. Just so, like, even where's the nearest post box? What times does the post go? You know, stupid things like that. Where can I get greetings cards from, birthday cards, and having to be organised because we live in the middle of nowhere. And I don't just walk past a shop every day.
Right. Yeah.
Keeping the car filled up, having to drive, you know, it's just all these silly little things that you have to be so much more organised and self-sufficient when you live in the country. I love it, but it's just,
it's a shock. It's a shock, especially of, not just location, but when everything changes. It's like, And then when nothing feels like home just yet. And then again, nervous system is like, I need to be comfortable. And we're like, we're getting there. And everything's a process. Nothing is an overnight sensation. Nothing ever will be an overnight sensation.
Mm.
But knowing that we've taken one step in the direction that we're supposed to be going every single day is what gets us to the idyllic, I get to walk around 6 acres. Whatever that 6 acres looks like to you, whether it's legit land or something completely different.
Exactly.
Maybe
A
it's
beach.
children, a family, a beach, the mountains, whatever. Yeah, there's something really powerful about doing that. And we will do it one day. We'll just grab the podcast and uproot it to Scotland, which I'm beside myself. Oh my goodness. Michelle, thank you so much for today. As we are wrapping up here, I have one last question for you. And that is, what is your next chapter? We've done a lot of things over the last 10 years. How do you see the rest of your story unfolding, even if it's just for right now, or if it's a couple years down the road?
Well, there's an awful lot I'm trying to pack in. But I've released the how, I've released the when. I just trust that it will happen if it's meant for me. The immediate thing is to get our house renovations finished. We've managed nearly to do one room in 3 years.
One room is good. One room is better than 0 rooms.
It was a big renovation of long story. Yeah, I'd love to get to a point where I don't have to renovate anything anymore. Finishing off the tree planting, and that's going to be an ongoing thing for a few years, but that would be, I think my biggest dream is to make sure I'm still alive when my trees are tall, which stands, there's one thing that we know in life, and that's that we're going to die, which sounds really morbid, but it just is. And so the trees, I have plans to run wellbeing retreats in the fields as well, grow lavender. I've got some ideas around lavender farming and traveling as well. Now, one of my biggest dreams for this year was to spend a month in Costa Rica over the summer, as in now. As you can tell, it hasn't happened, but that's okay. Like, I'm at peace with that, because we can put so much emphasis on when things happen that actually we put too much pressure on ourselves. And there are other factors at stake, like the fact that we've got an elderly cat and we can't leave her, the fact that there's other things. So I will get to Costa Rica for a month. Maybe it's going to be next summer. The finances need to do some growth as well to make that possible. So yeah, there's a lot of next chapters. But I think I asked my boys the other day, what do you want to do in life? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I said, I'll tell you what I want for you. I want you to be happy. And that's what I want. That's my next chapter, is just to feel really peaceful, just become more and more me, and not give a damn what other people think of me, and just keep growing, keep learning, keep evolving, just keep not stagnate like I did a few years ago.
Yeah. Michelle, I think you're well on your way to all of those things and more.
Thank you.
So it was a pleasure talking with you today. May this be the first of many conversations. And it was wonderful. I don't even want to say goodbye.
Well, I've loved it. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's been great. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I invite you to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen, give it a rating and review while you're at it. It really goes a long way. And check out the show notes for all the ways to stay connected with me and our guests. Until the next episode.